Fellas, AC here. Welcome to another video. And before that, Merry Christmas to all of you. And as promised, I've come with a video idea. And obviously this is my birthday, so I absolutely would love to celebrate it with my extended family. That's you guys. So I thought about it and I thought, okay, let me make a special video. And I thought, okay, what would be a special topic? And I thought, okay, what if I did the most iconic men's fragrances ever made? Yeah. So I started from 1880s and I came up with a list. It could be more than one video. So part one, I'll call this part one. And it'd be nice to see. It's just a fun video. Nice to see if you agree. If you don't like the ideas, then you can provide your own list. But this is a tricky endeavor to come up with 10 iconic fragrances. So sit back and relax. Open a beer or something. It's Christmas, right? Cheers. So, I normally don't drink, but this is Christmas and it's my birthday, so why not? And what am I drinking? Okay, so this is amber ale. This is a proper English amber ale. It's Moorish. It's full-bodied. I don't prefer beer. I like beer, but I prefer ale to beer. Yeah. So, and this is nice. I'm not endorsing them. This is nice. Hope you've grabbed a beer. So let's start. Let's make this a special video for Christmas and my birthday. So iconic fragrances, right? I came up with 10. And I want to start where it all started. Okay? It started way back in 1882 for men. It's not in the list. This is just a mention. This is Fougere Royale. I've reviewed it. This is when gentlemen's perfumery started. And everything in the early 1800s, late 1800s, was lavender. Oh, this is nice. This is basically a Fougere. Yeah, and there's the whole branch of Fougere as an olfactory family was so nice. It was created for gentlemen. And this is basically an amber-based Fougere. It has a floral middle, some beautiful, beautiful notes like geranium, rose, chamomile, and the base used to be warm, like tonka bean, amber, that sort of thing, oak moss. This is what it is. Very fine, very well-made fragrance. Give it a little test if you like. I've reviewed it, you can check it out. So this is where gentlemen's perfumery started, modern gentlemen's perfumery, Western. Eastern has been going on for centuries, but this is 1882 Fougere Royale. This is just an honorable mention, just an education if you like. Then I think the next one that I've reviewed is Guerlain Mouchoir de Monsieur. Now this is discontinued, extremely expensive now. And this is again Fougere, vanilla. So you have lavender, oak moss, vanilla, beautiful fragrance, lovely iris as well. Green iris, kind of lipstick, rooty kind of an iris. So these are the two gentlemen's fragrances where it started. These are not in the list. I just wanted to include them to give you a little picture. This came out in 1882, I believe. This came out in 1904. So these two are more than 100 years old. Before the First World War, this is what gentlemen used to smell like. Lavender. Lavender used to dominate. And I thought, okay, let me first draw the picture. So from there, things start. Now, I've got 10 here, but I've also got 5 in my mind because I wanted to do honorable mentions. Those are the fragrances I used to wear, love, but I don't have them in my collection anymore. So I thought I'll do an honorable mention so that people who have them in their list and they consider them to be iconic don't feel disappointed. So number 1, fragrance that I wore a lot and I used to wear them to work. And the first time I smelled that fragrance, I thought, wow, this is me. It was Davidoff CoolWater. CoolWater was basically an aquatic fragrance. It has a wonderful note of sort of cologne. So cologne is a chemical compound, and Davidoff is the beer. Davidoff CoolWater, made cologne famous. It has this aquatic smell. It was fresh. It also has a smell of green grass, cut green grass. It has a woody character to it. It's really lucid, wonderful, everyday, easy to wear, freshy. Yeah, my first love was kind of CoolWater because I really enjoyed wearing it to work. It was my work scent. So that's an honorable mention. A lot of people wear it, still wear it. I don't have a bottle, so I can't showcase it. Next honorable mention on my list is another de facto work fragrance. Not my favorite. I haven't worn it much. But it is Aqua Di Gio by Armani. Aqua Di Gio actually made Alberto Moreas into a celebrity parfumer. Now, I've told you about this story before when I reviewed Profondo. Aqua Di Gio Profondo. That I used to get off at my tube station, I'm talking about 20-25 years ago, early in the morning, and all I could smell when I was going up the escalator or down the escalator was Aqua Di Gio. In London in the late 1990s, this was the fragrance to wear to work. Everybody used to wear Aqua Di Gio. So that's my memory of Aqua Di Gio. I never wore it to work, but I did, but very brief period. Because it was such a common scent. I used to wear CoolWater, Silver Mountain Water. That's later. And that's the kind of fragrances I used to wear. So that's Aqua Di Gio. It's an iconic fragrance, still is. You know, when mothers look for their teenage son's first fragrance, they'll probably buy Aqua Di Gio. It's a safe scent. They know this fragrance, you know, and it's a darling of the crowd. So it's an iconic scent. So that's number two. Number three is another de facto clubbing fragrance from the 90s. It is a fragrance which made another perfumer's life, and that is Le Male. Still going strong. Again, lavender-based fragrance. It has a beautiful sort of a warm, vanillic base. It is a sweet sort of lavender fragrance. I quite like the scent, but I haven't worn this much. It didn't give me that sort of satisfaction of wearing a lovey-dovey scent. It was a lovey-dovey scent, still is, and it was worn by everybody, anybody and everybody. When they went clubbing in the 90s, late 90s, that's what I'm talking about, early 2000s. So Le Male is iconic, still is. And that's three. Number four is a fragrance that I think is a fantastic lavender scent with warm base. So an antidote to Le Male would be Eternity. Now that's a scent I really enjoyed wearing. I've worn it to death. So I didn't bother getting myself a bottle. It's not in my collection, but I used to smell of Eternity. I love the smell of Eternity. It used to really recharge me. Lavender with warm vanilla, lots of florals in the middle, cut grass, vetiver. Nice scent, still is, you know. I'd love to have it in my collection if I get it for, you know, sort of a partial on eBay or something like that. Eternity is another iconic scent. It's loved by women all over the world, especially women living in the tropical countries. You know, it does something in warm weather, warm-ish weather. So if you live in a hot country, take notes. Other one that I can think of is Kouros. Kouros is something that I didn't gel with. Kouros is that dirty, clean smell of musk. It's a musk-based fragrance. I never got along with Kouros. I did not enjoy the smell of Kouros for some reason. It probably didn't work on my skin chemistry. It is an iconic scent. Don't mistake it. Don't go by my personal experience. Kouros is loved by millions and millions of people. It is a true icon, still is. People love to wear it. Nowhere to work if you live in a warmish country. It gives a very stale sort of a body odor smell, which doesn't smell very good. Doesn't leave a very good trail. But if you like it, wear it. You know, who cares? And another one, I think it's going to number 6, which is Excess by Paco Rabanne. This fragrance was everybody's favorite if they were in their early 20s like me, in the sort of mid to late 90s. Excess has this juicy fruitiness combined with creamy sandalwood. It's a beautiful fragrance and terrific to wear to any occasion. If you are one of those guys who wants to wear one fragrance to every occasion like I was. So Excess is a fantastic fragrance. As a beginner, Excess is fantastic. So those are 6 iconic fragrances which I've worn, enjoyed, apart from Kouros, worn and enjoyed, and they're still loved, they're still going strong. Most of them are available. Excess has gone down in potency a little bit, but it's still a very, very nice fragrance, a great beginner's fragrance. So those are the 6 that I wanted to get out of the way so that people don't complain, because these are truly iconic fragrances and I've worn them enough to know them. So let's start a list. So as you can see, it started with Fougere. Lavender used to dominate, but there was one fragrance which came out in the mid-50s, if you like, and I've done a full review of it, which changed the game. It introduced a note. I wouldn't say introduced because there were such fragrances before, but it actually took a note which was relatively new and made it a masculine note. Apart from lavender, there was one in the fray, and it was Vetiver. It remained for a long, long time a man's area, if you like. And nowadays, women's fragrances also have Vetiver, but Vetiver was turned into a masculine icon. And my first fragrance in this video is Guerlain Vetiver. Now, there are many versions of Guerlain Vetiver. So this is the original vintage Guerlain Vetiver. Current version is also very, very good, but doesn't last that long. My favorite among all the Guerlain Vetivers is this one. This is Guerlain Vetiver Frozen. Now, the difference. So let's talk about the main vetiver. So Guerlain Vetiver uses Indian vetiver. Indian vetiver is quite earthy and very sharp. It has this sharp, pungent sort of undertone. Normally, vetiver has this green, milky smell. Indian vetiver has got this green, earthy, dry, heavy smell with a pungent character, undertone. And it was mixed with lemon, bergamot, and tobacco at the top, which was quite unique. And that's why it became such a darling of gentlemen of the 50s, right? This one is unique again because it uses a note of orange. It has this beautiful fluidity about itself, right? So it's grassy area and fluidity, and it has this warmth of tonka. That's why I like Frozen. Discontinued, but I don't want to discourage you. I just wanted to show you my favorite. But Guerlain Vetiver in itself is a superb, real icon of a fragrance. Give it a try if you haven't. It's a must-have fragrance. And the most important thing is Guerlain Vetiver can be sort of paired, if you like. Yeah, you can mix and match it with other fragrances. Yeah? So if you're into layering and you like the smell of vetiver, you like the smell of little dry tobacco and woodiness, you can layer it with other fragrances like other Fougeres that don't have that character. It's a fabulous fragrance. Give it a try. Guerlain Vetiver. I've reviewed it. Do check it out. I've reviewed the vintage version, that bottle that I showed you. Next on my fragrance is another game changer. It is really regal, and it made the life of one of the most famous perfumers, not my favorite, but he is very famous. The fragrance is Declaration by Cartier. And this fragrance was created by none other than Jean-Claude Ellena. So many people love him because of his work. He's not one of my favorite fragrances. I still respect his work, but his work doesn't resonate with me. Declaration absolutely does. So what was this? This is a revolutionary fragrance. It created a watery, spicy, birchy, woody fragrance. It was just amazing. It has this rose which is watery. It has cumin. It has bitter orange. So fruity bitter orange cumin. So Jean-Claude Ellena has used that signature in many fragrances. And then it has this beautiful warm woody base. This is really, really a game-changing fragrance. It came out in the 80s, I believe, late 80s. I've done a full review anyways. But this fragrance is an icon, still is. People love to wear this fragrance of a certain age. Sometimes people don't like to wear it because the cumin comes out as body odor. Sometimes. It's cold weather. If it's cold weather, try it. This is one fragrance. You can wear it in spring. You can wear it in winter. Also late autumn. If you live in a very hot country, you might struggle. But it's up to you and the people who smell you. Next is another such fragrance. It's an absolute trendsetter. When it came out, it stunned everybody. That such a thing could be done, right? I'm talking about Dior Fahrenheit. Dior Fahrenheit came out in 1988, I believe. When it came out, it blew everybody's tops off. This fragrance, what is it? It's a proper masculine, you know. It smells of gasoline, smells of leather, smells of burnt rubber, smells of woods. It's just a stunner. And if you look at the notes breakdown, it has got absolute truckloads of florals in the middle, which you think, how can a fragrance which has got so many florals in the middle smell of burnt rubber, leather, gasoline? This is the fragrance that created the myth of the violet leaf. My favorite is Fahrenheit Absolute. Now let me tell you my story about Fahrenheit. So I wore Fahrenheit back in the 90s, late 90s. Oh, the moment you smell this, oh my god, you have a nasal orgasm straight away. It's an amazing fragrance. Pardon my language. But when Fahrenheit used to be Fahrenheit, nowadays I like Fahrenheit, still like it, but it doesn't smell that kind of birch leather, that kind of a gasoline that used to smell back in the late 90s. That's when I got my first bottle of Fahrenheit. When I smelled Fahrenheit, I was absolutely blown away. What is this? A fragrance can do that to you? That kind of stuff. Fahrenheit Absolute mixes myrrh, mixes lavender. So there's sweetness, there's resinous amber, there's smokiness. So this whole Fahrenheit myth has been taken to another level. This is discontinued, by the way. But I tell you what, if you get hold of Absolute and if you're into multi-layered complex fragrances, Fahrenheit Absolute just takes the experience to the next level. Now, I just realized I'm 16 minutes down, so let me crack on. All right. I'm loving this experience of having a little drink and doing a video. I should do it more often, I think. What do you think of that? So, let me know. Next fragrance is again a game changer. It brought in the note of lipstick. You know what I'm talking about. Dior Homme. Dior Homme came out in 2005. It was a stunning fragrance. It brought in amberette. Amberette has a smell of musk and has this warmth and feel of velvety skin. Excuse me. It brought in an iris which smelled a little bit like lipstick. So all in all, the fragrance started smelling like a lady's handbag, mixed with the smell of lipstick, and it created a complete and utter earthquake when it comes to men's fragrances. Women loved it, men loved it. It was, what is this? And this is why it's an iconic scent. My favorite is Dior Homme Intense because of this chocolatey feel to it. I really like this is a fantastic lavender as well, but this is more leathery, especially nighttime. Has a juicy pear and then has this chocolatey nuance, which I absolutely love. This fragrance is an absolute stunner, should be in this list, so that's why it's here. Dior Homme Intense, Dior Homme Parfum, whichever you like. It's an iconic scent. Next one is a Jean-Claude Ellena fragrance. This is the reason he's so famous. He created this amazing note of fragrance experience called Dirty Orange. You know what I'm talking about. Terre Hermes. Came out in 2005. Not my favorite. It created a flutter because for the first time Isoe Super was mainstream. He brought in Isoe Super and said, okay, here you go. I'll mix some orange, I'll mix some notes like flint, give it a little pungent, sort of tart smell, put some vetiver in it, give it some earthy base, and here you go, this is Terre Hermes. Yeah, everybody just went gaga over it. Not my favorite, but I like the vetiver enhanced version, which is Terre Hermes or Intense Vetiver. And it's a true icon. It's a completely different new smell. Everybody loved it. Just like Dior Homme, completely new sensation, and everybody went with it. People still like Terre Hermes. People still like various variations of Terre Hermes. So here's my favorite version, Eau Intense Vetiver. I've reviewed it. If you want to check it out. So we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 truly iconic, game-changing fragrances here. And if you're watching it as a newbie, here are some really good examples for you to get you started. Next one is a fragrance which was born in the 70s. It didn't become very popular, but currently, if you ask any sort of vintage fragrance collector, what is their top fragrance, they will either name Balenciaga Pour Homme, which is not sadly in this list. I would love to have a bottle, extremely difficult to find, or this one. This is Givenchy Gentlemen EDT, I believe. EDT, yes. This is a vintage 1970s Givenchy. It's still in production, but the current fragrance doesn't smell like it used to smell. So if you want to imagine Woodstock, yeah, 60s, late 60s Woodstock, this is a Woodstock fragrance. This is heavy patchouli. What is patchouli associated with? Hippie culture. This is a proper hippie patchouli fragrance. and the way it smells and the emotions it evokes, it's absolutely mind-bogglingly wonderful masculine. You know, after Fahrenheit, this is the only fragrance which I wear when I want to feel like, you know, Clint Eastwood of the mid-80s, you know, slinging a massive magnum. That's the kind of image this fragrance. This is incredible masculine. So what does it smell like? Obviously patchouli, heaps of patchouli, but it's paired with brilliant green notes. And then on top of that, there's this rose, full-bodied rose. And on top of that, there's honey, right from the start. And then civet. So animalic, honey is animalic anyways. So taking a note which is earthy, deep, sort of medicinal note, and mixing these heavy, voluptuous notes around it creates this magical masculine, just like Fahrenheit. Fahrenheit's heart is full of florals. And you look at the smell, and where are the florals? Similarly, this fragrance, you know, it's got some really heavy, rounded, sweet notes. But is this fragrance sweet? Nope. You have to try it. If you can't get hold of, bad luck to you. Extremely rare to find. I'm sorry to include a discontinued fragrance. The current formulation is there. I hear good things about it, but I haven't tried it. So anybody who's compared these two, current and vintage, leave a comment. But this is an iconic scent. This is probably the most sought after Givenchy fragrance at the moment. Next on my list is a fragrance which put oud on the map, front and center, and a genius did that. It was his first fragrance when he joined Amouage. I'm talking about Christopher Chang. This was the first fragrance he created, and he created an absolute paradigm shift. This was the first time oud became mainstream. I'm talking about Amouage Jubilation XXV. I can hear people applause. This fragrance changed the game. This fragrance brought Amouage to the mainstream. This fragrance brought oud to the mainstream. Still is one of the most sought after oriental fragrances out there. This is absolutely brilliant fragrance. It has a very tangy, fruity notes. It has all the incense you can think of. So olibanum, myrrh, or oponax, which is sweet myrrh, incense, as in smoky incense, woods. This fragrance, I haven't reviewed it yet, but the moment you smell it, you know you're smelling Jubilation 25. It's so unique, and it has this, I forgot to mention, it has this Assam oud, which is animalic. So one fragrance that put oud on the map, first fragrance, proper, is Jubilation 25. A true icon. Next fragrance is the fragrance that created the blue culture. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Bleu de Chanel. It's one of the most iconic Chanel fragrances. It started the blue trend. It started the culture of getting compliments front and center. And this one that I've got is my favorite blue scent. It is Parfum, Bleu de Chanel Parfum. But the original, I used to have it, I sold it, is the fragrance that got me the most compliments. So the scent is absolutely super, right? It's paired with this amazing grapefruit and then allied notes of warmth. I think there's vetiver as well, tonka as well. Can't remember the exact note breakdown, but the smell is so iconic. The moment you smell it, this metallic vibe, the moment you smell it, you know you're smelling Bleu de Chanel. So anybody who's been in the clubbing and dating game has actually owned a bottle of Bleu de Chanel, a true clubbing icon. The parfum is more polished, more suave, a little bit reserved. That's why it's my favorite, because it has some amazing sandalwood note. It has some, fruity nuances because of pineapple. This is another brilliant fragrance that I've reviewed. Do check it out. Only two left. This fragrance, again, as everything else in this list, is a true game changer. It paired fruits with leather. I think some of you have guessed what I'm talking about. It was created by another genius. Let me show you the fragrance. I don't have a full bottle, I'm sorry. It is Tom Ford's Tuscan leather. It was created by Tom Ford when he left YSL. In YSL, he created M7 Oud Absolute, which was another iconic fragrance. Another probably M7 Oud Absolute brought oud to the fore as well. But when he created his own brand, he came with this outlandish idea of taking the note of leather and pairing it with raspberries. And the moment you do that, and tobacco as well, and the moment you do that, you create this amazing scent signature which has got absolutely nothing to do with the underlying notes. It creates this odd chemistry and produces a smell which is going to knock you sideways. You think, my God, what is this? And the moment you smell it, it's uber masculine, uber confident, one of the greatest smells of this century, I would say. And this is not going to go away. Tuscan leather will never be forgotten. 100 years from now, people will be talking about this fragrance. It's the most iconic combination of fruits and leather. Terrific fragrance. I think when I reviewed it, I gave it a 10 out of 10. Done a full review. One day, I'll find a full bottle because I think this is a tremendous fragrance. And the last one is a fragrance which the name of that fragrance is known by people who have nothing to do with fragrances, who don't own a single bottle. They pretend, if they have to, fib, they'll probably say they've got a bottle of this fragrance, even if they're wearing Axe deodorant. It's that famous. It's so famous, it's become a victim of its own success, or own name, own popularity. The fragrance is none other than Creed's Aventus. I do not have a full bottle, but I have a batch, a little decant here. The batch number is 17T01. This fragrance is undoubtedly one of the most well-known fragrances out there. And it's basically a citrus aromatic. And again, this is probably a fragrance, this is probably a fragrance which made the note of pineapple so famous. Pineapple, blackcurrant, juicy upfront citrus aromatic signature with sandalwood the base. This is proper Creed fragrance with a scent profile which just is stunning. Obviously, it doesn't smell that good during nighttime, but daytime it smells absolutely amazing any weather. But as I said, it became a victim of its own success. It's been cloned to death, and I own probably 3 or 4 of those clones. But having said that, is it overhyped? Yes. Does it smell good? Yes. Does it smell amazing actually? Yes. Will it get you compliments? Absolutely. So, this is one fragrance which has created an amazing legend out of its name. So, let me know what you thought of the video and the choices I put forward. Probably there'll be a second part depending on your comments if I have those bottles. But I hope you enjoyed this special Christmas video and my birthday video. And do take care. Enjoy yourself. See you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.